What is up, YouTube? It is me, Rahul, back again, and today I am back with another Fusion Strike deck profile for you guys. In my Discord, I have put a poll on what decks people would like to see coming up on this Wednesday for the first profile, and the overwhelming majority voted for Gengar VMAX Single Strike. Now, again, here's going to be my take on the first deck. Like, I haven't, again, had plenty of time to prep on the deck. It's just my first take, my first thoughts, kind of how I think the deck should be played. And if you guys enjoy the content, obviously like, subscribe, leave a comment below, all that good stuff. Subscribing will definitely help. I'll be getting into more competitive content, way more competitive as tournaments come back coming up soon. So let's jump right into the deck profile. Single Strike is a deck that has been kind of around for a while, coming into play with the Houndoom from Battle Styles. And as the deck has kind of come into prominence, Umbreon VMAX was really the card that put it over the top, kind of giving it that oomph, that extra oomph factor. So before we jump into Gengar and Gengar VMAX do and the line, let's talk about the deck a little bit. So what Gengar V does is for 2 dark, it does 40 damage and your opponent's active is asleep. And for 3 dark, your opponent's active is, well, it's 190 and you take 3 damage counters. Not bad. It's very comparable to Single Strike Urshifu. And then we play 1 copy of Gengar VMAX, which does Fear and Panic, 2 Darkness, 60 times the number of each of your opponent's Pokemon V and GX in play. Pretty good. Not crazy one-shot potential, but it is better than Beatdown. But GMAX Swallow Up is arguably a little bit worse than One Blow, GMAX One Blow, because it's 20 damage less than it would be doing base. So putting 3 energies on it does mean you're doing less damage, but you don't discard the energies. So this can be used again. You can switch it out of the active. You can kind of pivot it out with the GMAX Swallow Up. That being said, let's talk about the deck a little bit and why I think some of these cards are here and why they're here. So Gengar VMAX is the pivotal point of our deck, but also alongside it is Umbreon VMAX. Now, Umbreon VMAX, while also having an excellent ability that lets you use Dark Signal to bring up a basic bench Pokemon, you have the attack that does 160, as well as the baby that does 80 plus 80 if you have damage counters already on it, which you can be easily done with a Single Strike energy, putting you in a position where you can do a ton of damage off the board, or off the bat, with these 2 babies, like the 2 Gengar V and the Gengar Umbreon V, both do a ton of damage where they need to be. Dark Signal is an amazing ability, and you're setting up for 2 shots on anything, and your Vs can trade for Vs. There's a 3-3 Umbreon VMAX line because I think Umbreon VMAX is very pivotal, and having 3 means you have less chance to find your bosses. You're realistically only ever using 2 in a game, but they go a very long way. Gengar VMAX, now I think Fear and Panic, or whatever the new attack is called, Swallow Up, I don't know, that's GMAX. But Fear and Panic, the first attack, is not necessarily the best because there's no GXs in the format currently. So most people put down maybe 2, maybe 3 V Pokemon if they have to be forced to put a Crobat down. So that first attack is not doing necessarily too much. You're basically 2-shotting, but you're putting a 3-prizer into play. So that attack does not really do much. But GMAX Swallow Up is a really good cleanup attacker card. If you can get 3 Single Strike energy on there, you're swinging for 310. If you can somehow get all 4 onto there, you're swinging for 330, which goes kind of a long way. Good card. Obviously, fighting type weakness is not something we're really a huge fan of, but it is better than the psychic type weakness that Single Strike Urshifu would offer with Mew VMAX coming to the format. This deck preys off of Mew VMAX. That matchup is one of the best for the deck, if not the best, simply because we hit for weakness. We can kind of prey on them, kind of pick it off. And the reason we also play Umbreon as a secondary attacker is now we have 2 different weaknesses, grass and fighting. Therefore, we can kind of play the attacker we think is best suited in that situation. Now, Houndoom, there's a 4-4 line. Single Strike Roar is the card that lets you get the Single Strike energy from your deck attached to one of your Pokemon, take 2 damage counters. Crobat V is in the deck because we might need to draw cards at some point. And then we have a Single Strike, 1 copy of Single Strike Urshifu V, because I do think being able to hit for fighting type weakness is important in this metagame, and I think Impact Blow is not too hard of an attack to power up. And I mean, 220 is not a bad number of damage if you can get 2 Single Strike energy onto the Pokemon. Yes, Single Strike energy is the only way we can attack with the Single Strike Urshifu, but that was kind of how it was before, so I'm not too pressed about it. For our support account, we have 4 Research, 3 Marnie, 2 Boss, and 1 Piers. Research and Marnie counts, I think, are very staple across the board. In a deck like this, we are aiming to discard a lot more energy and kind of get the ball rolling that way. I'm going to move my camera up so you can see the energy count at the bottom. You kind of want to get the ball rolling that way. And then Boss's orders, there's 2 because we already have Umbreons. So in addition to the 2 Boss, we have like 3 extra Gust effects. So we have 5 total ways to Gust things up and knock them out. So we can take tempo of the game very quickly. Now, Piers is a card that has not seen much play, but I think Piers is very good in a deck like this where, well, we have 6, 12. Is my math bad? 20. We have 21 dark type Pokemon in the deck. A third of our deck is dark type Pokemon. Therefore, Piers is going to be very good because he gets us a energy card and a dark type Pokemon into our hand, which a lot of the time means Umbreon plus an energy to attack because Houndoom can kind of fulfill the rest of the role. So I think Piers is a really good attacker or card in this deck specifically because if we have the Urn, we can always put back the single strike energy, which means that all we need to do is find one energy to attack with either Gengar or Umbreon or even Urshifu, I don't know, like whatever. And the Piers gets us that Houndoom. The Piers gets us that VMAX card we need. It becomes that Umbreon. So Piers can become a boss. There's 4 copies of Quick Ball and 4 copies of Evo Incense. I think that's pretty stable across the board. You need to be able to find those basics early, especially the Hound Hours. That is going to be the biggest problem with this deck because unlike the single strike Urshifu version, we do not play capture energies because Gengar attacks for multiple dark energies. So that's kind of a problem because we need to have dark energies in the deck, and Gengar is also much fatter than Urshi, so we need to have those hiding dark energies. Yes, you can cut some of the hiding dark energies and the basic dark and make room for capture energies. I currently just don't have them in my build. Yeah. So 4 Quick Ball, 4 Evo Incense should be able to kind of get you what you need early game. 2 Balloons, 3 Switch, make for, really good early combination of stuff. Just getting your Gengar out of the active. Obviously, you can cut maybe 1 Switch, one of the Balloons, because we do play Hiding Darkness energies, and maybe replace the standalone Dark Energy and that Switch tech for capture energies. If you guys comment on this video saying, what if capture energy is good and you don't get to this part, I'm just literally going to be like, it's in the video. I'm just letting you know right now. Capture energy is a consideration. I'm just trying this build first without capture energies to see how it functions. That's what we call limit testing, because we don't need to just blindly believe that capture energy is the best card for a certain situation. I want to blindly test these hiding energies first to see if this pivots, the rotations, the movements around on the deck, make it any better than what capture energies would have, and would it really hurt my consistency that much? And if it does, then obviously we can pivot back into it. 3 Urns of Vitality. You don't need 4 necessarily because we're not discarding energies with this build compared to the GMAX 1 Ball version. The GMAX 1 Ball version found itself discarding energies probably once, maybe twice throughout the game. So Urn of Vitality was a lot more crucial there, but we're not really discarding that many energy. Yes, that means our energy gets stuck on one Pokemon realistically, but if that Pokemon gets knocked out, we still need to have those Urns. So we're realistically only playing 2 Urns in a game, so which is why we still play 3 Urn of Vitalities. There are 3 Tower of Darknesses. We don't really need to counterbump any stadiums. I don't think Path is necessarily a problem. I don't think Old Cemetery is necessarily a problem. I don't think there's any stadiums that are necessarily a problem for us. I just think that we're going to need to be able to draw cards past our research. Obviously, our initial turn 1, 2 is going to be really scary. It might even be more beneficial to go second with this deck. I'm not entirely sure. If we're not playing the capture energies, going second might be correct because we get access to research and see more cards. So giving decks the option to go first when they don't really accomplish too much, and then our going second deck can always mean look on turn 1, or just set up behind something, sack a Pokemon, and all of a sudden turn 2 we can max Swallow Up, or just kind of Dark Signal around the board, kind of play the game that we want to play. We still pose massive damage on turn 2, and that's kind of the point of the deck. Now, again, I don't think Gengar VMAX is necessarily better than Single Strike Urshifu, but I think it's a really cool card, and I think it's worth giving it a shot, and I think there's no harm in trying it as soon as the format starts, right? I think it's a really good Mew counter. I think there might be a hidden gem there. It might my list might not be the best on how to play it. I have not necessarily looked at too many other lists. I've just kind of sat down and thought about how I would want to play it, what the accomplishing goal should be, which is just a lot of damage across the board, attack for cheap, pivot around, kind of make it hard for your opponent to take prize cards. We can abuse the VMAX as having a lot of HP in this situation, force them to have their bosses. We can Marnie wherever we can. Once we're set up on board, obviously the game gets really easy. Single Strike plays itself. Yeah, that's the deck. Obviously, let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see for Friday's video. I am doing a poll in my Discord as well, and I guess you guys can vote on it. Let me see what the options are currently before we end the video. I believe that I left the options at... Inteleon VMAX with heavy healing is one deck I want to try. Fusion Strikes with a Toxicity focus, kind of like a Toolbox-esque Toxicity, Single Strike, Chilly Silent Crest kind of version. A Boltund VMAX style deck, and then I want to try to make Greed into VMAX work as well. So those are kind of the decks that I have on the docket for you guys. We have a deck profile coming up Friday, and then 3 next week, and I don't know if I'll be able to do videos while I'm gone for Thanksgiving, visiting some friends. But if I do, I will kind of have a different style of video. Maybe have my friend be in the videos, maybe try to do some tabletop content. Let me know what you guys think about all that. Obviously, like, subscribe, the whole shebang. I really do appreciate everybody. My deck profiles have been getting a lot of love. I will be continuing to make a lot of content coming up every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can expect a video from me unless I say otherwise in my Discord. Yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. As always, you can find me at my socials, Discord, everything is in the description below. I will see you guys on Friday.